Welcome to the Take Your Apprenticeship podcast. The Take Your Place team is made up of 5 universities and 9 further education colleges from across the east of England. We are an impartial project dedicated to giving you the information you need, regardless of where you are applying to study. Since 2017, we have worked with over 30,000 students from 100 different schools, colleges and sixth forms, helping them to explore their options and discover their potential. Now we hope to help you too. In this podcast series, we will explore all aspects of finding, applying for and succeeding in an apprenticeship. Through talking to experts and current apprentices from a variety of industries, we will help you explore your future apprenticeship options.
In this episode, I spoke to Adam, who is an assistant site manager for Morgan Sindall Construction. We spoke about the type of work he gets up to in a typical week and how his apprenticeship helped him develop his skills whilst earning a salary. As with all our conversations in this series, our interviews are recorded remotely, so you might hear some background office and working from home noises. Don't forget to check out the Take Your Place resource website at takeyourplace.ac.uk/resources for more university and apprenticeship information. I'm joined by Adam, who recently completed his 5-year apprenticeship with Morgan Sindall. Thanks for talking to me today, Adam. Could you start by telling me about your position and what you're currently working on?
I'm Adam Soanes, Assistant Site Manager, working for Morgan Sindall Construction and Infrastructure. I manage the day-to-day activities of the construction projects. Main tasks sort of consist of getting the building built on time for the client and everyone to use, managing the health and safety on the project so that everyone is safe, managing the quality and the final finished product of the building, and looking at the client's expectations to make sure that what we build is exactly what they want and need. I have been with Morgan Sindall now 5 years. As of March this year, just completed my Bachelor of Honours in Construction Management at Anglia Ruskin University in Chelmsford, which Morgan Sindall kindly sponsored for me.
That's great. Let's go back a little bit for the next question. Could you tell us about how you first became interested in doing an apprenticeship, and what was your route from GCSEs through to your position now at Morgan Sindall?
I didn't really have an idea what I wanted to do at GCSE level. Went to Wyndham High Academy. Wasn't very good at reading through, researching through books and, revising that way. So I went on to City College Norwich and studied construction and the built environment, where I sort of found construction and what I wanted to do, which was site management. I did have the option to go to the Wyndham High sixth form for my grades, but I felt better suited to the college course, although the high school did at the time push you to go through their sixth form and to university. From then, construction and the built environment course, I then did a certain module where I was then presenting in front of main contractor companies, where I did a presentation on a project, how it'd be managed from start to finish. The companies that were sort of there were Skanska, Balfour Beatty's, Morgan Sindall, Carter's and Kiers, to name a few. From this, I was then offered a week's work placement with Morgan Sindall, where they were able to show me a variety of their sites, one of them being the UEA low carbon building, the Robert Kett Middle School, and our previous work at the James Paget Hospital. From then, they then offered me to shadow a site manager for 1 day a week, paid whilst completing the second year of my college course, which was 3 days a week. They then offered me the 5 days a week during the summer months as well. So gained a lot of experience, and then during that summer, then had a job position coming up, which they offer every year to a full-time trainee site manager or apprentice site manager and one apprentice quantity surveyor as well. So I then applied for that, and 5 years later, here I still am.
There's so many different jobs in the construction and engineering sector, it can be a bit overwhelming if you're first looking at what you'd like to do. What type of thing would you like to do in your career, and how will what you're working on now and what you've worked on in the past few years help you with this?
Yes, so there are lots of different roles in our industry, from engineering, from construction. There's various different teams within just being on a building site. So something that Morgan Sindall offer is a trainee rotation, which helps you understand each sector of the business, but also gives you an understanding of people's roles, who you work with on a day-to-day. So they offer sort of a flexible sort of 6 months in each, depending on project, working in the following sectors: so site management, engineering, estimating, quantity surveying, planning and design management. This then sort of helps you gain, like I said, an understanding of that. And being that I've been through the 6 main rotations, this has sort of made me realise that I want to go into site management. I mean, it's something I see myself doing. And from that, my career aspirations will hopefully lead into project management and even contracts management at some point down the line.
So let's go back to when you were applying for your apprenticeship. Where did you look to find different vacancies, and what type of questions did you have to answer in the application process?
Most companies tend to publish on their websites or via their social media outlets such as LinkedIn, and that's the best place to sort of keep an eye on where these applications come on. Their applications will open around February or March time. Some of the questions, it was a while ago, sort of can consist of: where do you see yourself going within the company? What are your aspirations? Why do you think you fit this role? What do you know about the company, and what experience do you have?
Thank you. I think that's some really good advice. One thing that I've spoken a lot about to students with apprenticeships is keeping an eye on their websites, like you say. Whereas if you do go down the university route, as you've already mentioned, schools and colleges will really help you through the process and kind of encourage you. But I think making sure you are proactive and regularly check every couple of weeks key websites and companies is a really good practice to get into. So thinking back to when you were doing your apprenticeship, could you tell us about what you would do in a typical week?
So obviously I would have 1 day a week at college, so then the remaining 4 would be on site, depending on the rotation. A typical working week, a site manager would include the inductions and the training of guys first turning up to site, so I'd then be organising them, getting them ready to start where they're starting. This is really important to me as well, because I feel that the more people you meet as well, you're building relations constantly with people. You'll then might work with them on the next project, and you know how people work and what they need. Managing the design of the building as well, making sure it's built correctly. No job is the same in construction, even though some of them may look the exact same. Everyone is slightly different and unique in their own way. Managing the client's expectations. They always want to come out and visit the site, walk around, and obviously the big one, making sure that it's built on time for them to use, because they may have something that they need to move in on a certain time.
Why do you think the apprenticeship route suited you so well? How do you think it's different from going to university and being more classroom based?
So, as I mentioned sort of earlier, I'm not very good at revising, and I learn best practically, seeing it happening, seeing the actual in my hands, seeing it being built. So that's how I learn. I'm more active learning than being a bookworm, really, if you like. So that's why the apprenticeship has really helped me so much, and why, because it gives me a degree at the end. When you're learning in class and in the lecture theatres, you can then use that what you've learned there on your sites or in the offices, and hopefully help them learn a few things as well. But like I said, fellow professionals as well, they give their guidance as well from their experience, so that helps. You're not just put out on your own, you are shadowing someone, so they always give you their help and guidance there. And also the main one is obviously money. I'm earning a monthly wage while still learning, whereas you might not get that during doing a full-time degree.
Great. So you mentioned it there, but my next question was about that. One of the huge benefits of doing an apprenticeship is that salary you get as you train. How have you found that on the whole?
Yes, it's been massive for me. One of the biggest worries for students, and when you leave college or school, is money. Working job, being able to afford everything and all the niceties that you've been able to do. I've been quite lucky, obviously, with this apprenticeship, and I'm not quite 25, but I have to move out into my own place, which I didn't think would be possible leaving school with the house prices as high as they are at the moment.
So going back to your studying time whilst doing your apprenticeship, how was your time split between studying at college or university and being on placement?
So I had a day a week, as I've mentioned, at Anglo Ruskin in Chelmsford. That would be a day a week for 5 years. These were long days, so I'd be getting up early in the morning, wouldn't be getting home till late at night. Even though I did take the train down to Chelmsford, this did give me time to revise, read up and check up on where I was with the work. But studying wise, I would usually do a couple of nights each week, or I would take up a day at the weekend. Obviously, it was all worth it in the end, spending the odd weekend doing uni work.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Adam, and joining us for the podcast. Before we finish, do you have any top tips for anyone who's looking to go into construction or engineering?
General advice would be being proactive, making contacts with people. LinkedIn is a very good way of doing that. Most professional bodies use LinkedIn. Making a good impression when you get your chance. It will come eventually, even though you think you're just applying your CV here, there and everywhere. It will come with one of the jobs, but having a degree, to impress someone face to face is more important. Being proactive and getting out there, really. And when you do get your chance, show a willing to learn and develop, because even though you might be an apprentice, every day is a learning day for everybody. So take that chance.
That's great. Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to our future podcasts at soundcloud.com/takeyourplace or on your favourite podcasting app. You can also find us on Instagram, where we are at takeyourplace_HE, on Twitter at takeyourplaceHE, and on Facebook at facebook.com/takeyourplaceHE. You can also email us with any questions, requests, or just to let us know what you think on info@takeyourplace.ac.uk.